Watercolor pencils are not your everyday colored pencils. They are magical. And when it comes to card making, there are several different ways you can use them. You can use them like traditional colored pencils to easily add color to any stamped images. However, when you add a little bit of water, that's when the magic happens. Hi, it's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this episode of Stamptastic TV, we will focus on some watercolor pencil techniques with a fun little tool called an aqua painter. I will share 3 simple watercolor techniques along with some tips and tricks for using those watercolor pencils. By the end of this video, you will be able to make magic happen with these simple watercolor pencil techniques. And you will also have 3 beautiful project ideas as well. For the latest card making and paper crafting ideas, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click on that little bell so that you will be notified each time I upload a new video. So let's start by talking about the supplies that you will need. First, you will need some watercolor pencils. Next, you will need an aqua painter. An aqua painter is your brush and water all combined into one handy little tool. Simply unscrew the top, fill it with water, and then put the top back on and you're ready to watercolor. You will also need some shimmery white cardstock, but I prefer to use this paper over the watercolor paper, mainly because the shimmery white cardstock does not have a textured surface and it works the best with watercolor pencils. You will also need a bone folder and some Memento ink. Are you ready to make the magic happen? Type magic in the comments below and let's make some magic with these watercolor pencils. Technique number 1, the Ombre watercolor wash. If you have seen some of my other videos, you know that the watercolor wash technique is a simple way to create a colorful watercolored background for your cards. There are a variety of different ways to create the wash effect. You can choose one color or multiple colors to create the wash. For this technique, I will show you how to create the ombre effect. Ombre is a French word meaning to shade, and it is typically used to describe a color dyeing effect in which shades of color move from light to dark. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to take my purple watercolor pencil and I'm going to start at the top of my shimmery white cardstock, and I'm going to add quite a bit of color to the top of the cardstock. I'm just going to go back and forth across the cardstock with the watercolor pencil, and then I will get lighter with the color as I move towards the bottom. Now that I have my color on the cardstock, I'm simply going to take the tip of the aqua painter and I'm going to squeeze a little bit of water out directly on top of the area that I colored. So I'm going to start with the dark color, and then I'm just going to move the aqua painter from side to side over the area that I colored with the pencil. And I'm just going to let the water work right into the color. And you'll notice that as I do this, as I spread it across the cardstock, you can see that the water spreads the color. So I'm going to stay heavier on the top, and then as I move towards the bottom, I'm going to add a little bit more water so it gets a little bit more dilute. So you'll see the different shades of purple going from the top of the cardstock down to the bottom. Then you simply just let it dry. Since we are using a medium weight cardstock, you may find that the paper will curl or become wavy. If that happens, I have a couple of suggestions for you. First, you can try to smooth out the cardstock using a bone folder. Simply just run the bone folder across the wavy or the curled sections of the cardstock. And as you run it across, just kind of pull it a little bit to straighten it out. Now there is a little quicker way for smoothing out the cardstock, and this would involve the use of an embossing machine. You can simply place your cardstock in between the cutting plates of your embossing machine and run it through the machine. The machine will do all the work and it will flatten out the cardstock nicely. Technique number 2, two-tone shading. So for this technique, we are going to start by stamping our image using Memento ink. Once we have the image stamped, we're going to outline each leaf with a green watercolor pencil. So I want to just add the watercolor pencil to the outside all around each of the leaves. because what I'm going to do once I get all of the color on is I'm going to take the tip of my aqua painter and I'm going to put it directly on top of the area that I colored, and I'm going to pull that color from the edge of the leaf to the inside so that the outer part of my leaf has kind of a darker shade and the inner part of my leaf is a lighter color green. So it's a great way to achieve that two-tone color effect, and you're only using one color. So once I have completed all of the leaves, next I'm going to outline each flower with a pink watercolor pencil. And I'm going to use the same exact concept. I'm going to go around and I'm going to outline every single flower, every single petal on the flower using the pink watercolor pencil. And then once I'm done with that, then I take the tip of my aqua painter and I just pull the color from the outline to the center of the petal. Only this time, I'm going to do something just a little bit different. I'm going to add a couple of darker lines of color using a red watercolor pencil, and I'm just going to highlight the inner part of the flower. So I'm going to color the whole outline with light pink, and then I'm going to add the dark colors, the red, on the inside of the flower. So when I put the tip of the aqua painter on the pink, I'm going to pull all the pink out first, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to pull all the red from the center of the flower towards the inside or the center of the petal. And this will kind of give it that darker shaded look on the inside. So we're actually using two colors on the flowers and we're using one color on the leaves. So it's just a little, it's the same concept, but just a little different effect. So you're going to continue to blend the color, the pink and the red, with your aqua painter until you achieve the desired look. Then simply let it dry and assemble your card. Technique number 3, layering and painting colors. So with this technique, I'm going to show you how to layer two colors together, and then I'm going to show you how to use your aqua painter to pull color directly off of the pencil and use it as paint. So with this watercolor technique, we will use a variety of different colored watercolor pencils, and we're going to layer the colors together and then we're going to blend them. So we will start by using two different colored greens. I'm going to color one half of the leaf with the dark green and the other half of the leaf with the light green. So I'm going to go around and color all the leaves. All right, now we're going to do the same thing with the flowers. So we're going to take two different shades of blue. We're going to color the inside of the petals with the dark blue and coloring the outside of the petals with the light blue. Okay, now that we have everything colored, now we're ready to use the aqua painter. So I recommend that you squeeze a little bit of water out of the aqua painter first, just to wet the tip of the brush. And once you have the tip of the brush wet, then you can begin to blend the colors. Now it doesn't matter if you start with the leaves or with the flowers. What you want to do is start with the lighter colors first. So let's start with the leaves on this. Simply take the tip of the brush and spread the light color around. Go around and spread all of the light green color. Then go back and take the dark green color and blend it in with the light. So you'll be pulling the darker green color into the light. That's how you're going to blend it. So we'll go around and do that with all the green leaves. So always pull the darker color in while the light color is still wet. This will help avoid those water lines that you would get in between the two different shades of color. And now you're going to go around and you're going to do the same thing with the flowers. You're going to pull all of the light color, so go around and add water to all of the light areas of the flower. Then we're going to go to the center of the flower and we're going to pull that dark blue color up towards the light color. And we're just going to blend the petals of the flowers. Now we simply let it dry. So you can also use your watercolor pencil as paint. So instead of coloring the image with the watercolor pencil, you actually take your aqua painter and you rub it on the tip of the watercolor pencil to pull up the color. And this will be a very dark color. And then what you can do is you can take that to highlight different parts of the flower. So in this case, I used the very dark blue and I just rubbed the aqua painter on the tip of the pencil. And then I used it as a paintbrush and just painted some very dark lines in the center of the flower. And it just really accents it and pulls out that dark color. Once you have all of your images colored, let it dry, and then we can assemble the card. Now that you have some simple watercolor pencil techniques, it's time to start making some beautiful cards. And if you enjoyed the cards featured in this video, I have a free tutorial for you. The tutorial includes a complete supply list and step-by-step instructions for creating the 3 cards featured here today. You can find the link below this video. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by liking it, sharing it with your friends, and leave a comment below to let me know what you enjoyed most about the video and the tips shared here today. Have fun getting creative, take care, and I'll see you soon.